now we're going to talk about, see, I've been getting a little bit of rock fever. And I don't much, but I have been getting a little antsy to take a trip. I mean, so I'm a voyeur in a way. Voyeur? Yes, I am. And I really enjoy hearing about other people's adventures. When I can hear about what other people have done, it makes me feel almost like I have participated in the journey.
Well, it's the same when we plan people's trip. It's because your head has to get into that trip. That's how I think about it.
I hadn't thought about that.
So some days I've gone all around the world in my head.
Well, you're certainly kind of visiting the places because you have to go to all the websites and everything, right?
Yeah, the websites, all the different, all the components of planning the trip. Airfare, transfers, tours, cruise,
hotels.
Yeah. I mean, so you're just kind of like
cars and
all
you're in it.
You're in it, and then
like it's your own trip.
Yeah, so that's how it.
Well, I know Hana is one of those travelers. It's fun. We know each other from way back, but also at yoga class. So it's always fun to hear about who's doing what. And when I talked to you about 4 or 5 months ago, you were like a little kid jumping up and down. You were so excited to do your wedding over again. You weren't even thinking it. I don't think you even used the term vow renewal. You says, "I'm getting married again."
Right.
Didn't you? You looked at it like that, didn't you?
Yeah. I have a wonderful guy, and he did. He proposed and asked me to marry him again. We did have our vow renewals here on Maui. We decided that would be very simple and nice. We only had a couple people as witnesses, and Blaine Tinsley from Unity did the ceremony.
Nice.
And, great crowd at Unity.
In your house.
Yeah, in my house. And I have to tell you, thank you for inviting me. This is a wonderful way to spend my lunch hour. I don't have to think about garbage
at
all.
For years you did Talking Trash here on the air, so you did your own show here for years, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I really agree about the planning part of the trip. That's like really a fun part of travel. And people think that the travel it sometimes just starts when you get on the plane. No, you can have so much fun looking at this and learning about this and
That's
deciding what you're going to. I think it's a major part of it.
Yeah,
I think
and the
travel.
learning. You said the word learning, and it's funny because everyone has a little different attitude the way they do it. I hate to say a lot of times I do read a little bit. I download some books, and then I will get on the plane and I'll just jam deep into it. But I know John will be doing all the homework for me, so he may have 6 books. He may get the Frommer's book, and he'll get some of the others. I mean, he'll have books and books and books and books, and so I just trust him to know everything. So I was like, okay, tell me about it now. And he's like, wait a second, you've had the books to read for 3 months, and how come you want me just to tell you about it now? Well, I said, it's faster that way.
Yeah, and it's fun conversation. Yeah.
So, no, it is a part of it, and I think actually learning about the area, a little bit about the history, a lot about what's going on, it may be one of the most important parts of travel in a way, because it is immersing yourself in knowing about where you're going, and you learn a lot. And it's different for everyone. But did you get a couple travel books, or how'd you just do it online, or how'd you do your research?
Well, actually, we were traveling with some friends that did a lot of research. I'm really busy, so I didn't have time to do much. And we ended up not taking the standard tours, but teaming up with, the 4 of us teaming up with another couple, and then renting a vehicle, and then doing our own private little
so you
tour.
didn't do the shore excursions at all?
Well, we did shore excursions, but we thought that this would be a little bit more in line with what we wanted.
So let's explain what you did. So this was a big deal for you, and you decided to do something you hadn't done before.
Right.
Which was the Holland America cruise from Montreal to Boston.
Montreal to Boston.
And it was about 1,000 passenger ship.
And about 500 staff. And let me start with the ship. Okay. Personally, I have a different viewpoint about staying on a ship. Where we like to stay is midship, ocean level inside. We've done the stateroom thingy. We had when we took the kids to the Caribbean, we had the only nicer suite was the presidential suite, right? So we did that. We are never in our room, and so we did the inside stateroom, and we found out that it's like a sleep chamber. It's so dark and it's so quiet, and you control the air. We sleep better on a cruise ship than we sleep anywhere. Now, another reason why we like to be on the third deck here is because the buffet is on the 11th deck, and we have this rule: if we are going to eat, we're going to hike.
You walk up and down the stairs?
No, we don't walk down, ever. That's bad for your knees.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So we're like on the third. I was disappointed. I had to be on the fifth this time, but I couldn't get into the third.
Well, it's still 5 floors.
Yeah. So that's the routine that we're on, and we walk the ship. There's art all over ships. Some of it's on some ships is more interesting than others. But you can there was a great photography display on our floor, black and white, of like the 40s and the 50s, and there were the women in the picture at the the showroom, and they had on their Manx and their like 4-inch high heels and their coiffed hair.
Was it from people doing cruises? Or
Yeah.
was it,
It's all about ships and things. Anyway, so it's very interesting for us to walk around the ships, and besides, we found that if we follow the rule, if we hike to eat, we don't gain weight.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So, but that's the only way to do it. You have to, increase your movement, and it's also good for your heart and everything. So
Did you do the spa exercise room or anything?
Or now that you brought up the spa, okay. We have found that on most cruises, nobody or very few people are interested in the hot tub and the steam room and the spa facilities and those wonderful heated benches that you lie on.
I love those.
And you like those? Yeah,
the ceramic ones.
Yeah, they've got good ones on Celebrity.
Yeah, they have like small little 1-inch square tiles, and it's all curved and fits your body, and it's warm, and it just takes out all of the kinks of the day. Anyway, so what we've found is that there's not that many people that are interested in the spa stuff. So we buy the spa package, and cruise ship bathrooms are notoriously, what can I say?
Tiny?
Not tiny. I didn't want to say that.
Oh, they are. They're tiny.
Okay. Efficient and well-designed.
There's only once
All
when
right.
I was in a special owner suite that it wasn't, but yeah, I guess.
Right.
Otherwise they're tiny.
They're tiny. And so that's where, we'd go, we do the tub, and then we do a little steam and lay on the bench, and the showers in the spa area are really nice and big, and so that's where we would take care of making sure that our bodies were all relaxed and clean and all that. So but like I said, most people on ships, because there was only one time of the all the 7 days that we were up there that anybody else was in that room, and it was big and beautiful.
Well, I found it depends on where you're going, because there's, especially on ocean days, the spas are packed. If you have an ocean day where you're not doing a cruise, that's the day people book all their spa activities. And some ships, like I think the Celebrity Solstice, because of their Aqua Class days, pretty busy. And has a lot of people in it. But I think on this, it depends on your particular ship. But let's start.
We go at night.
I want to talk to you about Montreal, because I have never been to Montreal, and it's supposed to be so beautiful.
Okay.
And you started out, you were smart. You gave yourself, 4 days in Montreal?
4 days to jet lag and everything, yeah. But I want to say one more thing about the ship.
Okay.
If you have any dietary concerns, do not be concerned. Usually, at least in Holland America, and I'm sure in Crystal too, that if you give them your information ahead of time, they make sure that you have what you can eat. Because I was recently diagnosed with celiac disease, meaning no gluten. Mm-hmm. So they always made sure that I had everything, even at tea, even at high tea.
Wow.
They had gluten-free
That's
things.
amazing. That impresses me.
Right. And so, if you're vegan or vegetarian, or you have any kind of dietary restrictions or at all diabetic, if you let them know ahead of time, and usually on the website there's something that says special services or special needs or whatever. You go in there and you fill it out. Everything was wonderful for me. They had everything that I needed.
I love the high teas, and some ships are kind of well known for it. Others don't even do it, but high tea is kind of fun, But I've never seen a high tea with gluten free. That's a first, because usually it's all wheat, products and everything.
Right? Yeah. So that's just a tip to those that would like to travel. Make sure they have your information. They will take care of you.
Yeah.
Now, Montreal.
Montreal.
First of all, folks, I know it seems like it's just like part of our country. No, they really do speak French there. So
I thought that was Quebec.
And No, in Montreal too.
Oh, in Montreal too.
Yeah. So you get off the plane and everything is in French.
Really?
Yeah. I'm telling you. I'm thinking, okay, yeah, and so we got off the plane. The money rate was great, like for. To get $2 in Canadian money, it only cost you about $1.50 for American.
That's good.
So we hit it at a really good time. I know it's different, but we were. So that was an added bonus.
Where did you stay?
Oh, we stayed at a wonderful B&B, Airbnb. Okay, we found a really great place. Now this is very interesting. It was owned by a Chinese couple. They were in their 20s, and we noticed that most of this building that were Chinese people, lots of students anyway, because we stayed in the student district. So we met them, and I said, "Oh, you moved from China to here. Why did you move from China to here?" Well, we have a baby, and the air quality is so bad in China, it was not good for the baby.
Wow, it finally hit.
Yeah. Boy, and I got really, I had a little talk with myself about forgiving the Chinese government for not getting their environmental priorities straight here.
Oh, Beijing especially. Beijing is terrible. It's awful.
Yeah. So anyway, it was a lovely little one-bedroom place. It had everything that we needed, including a washer and dryer, which we really wanted because
you had the place to yourself, or was
it
with other?
No, we had it to ourselves.
Oh, it's perfect.
And then Montreal is very, very international. And it's also very youthful, the areas that are usually well-traveled by tourists, because there's Concordia University, there's the McGill, there's other schools that are there. So since we were there, the food around the university districts were really cheap, So we had, and you can eat any kind of food there. It's and they have 5,000 restaurants or something. They have just a huge amount of restaurants. So and a huge variety of food.
It's a good walking city too, I heard. Isn't it?
It's fabulous because it was flat. Okay, and that was good for me, and I loved the Greek grocery store that we went into called Adonis.
I love Greek food. I would have eaten there every day.
Oh yeah, and they had this great candied fruit and things you can't really get on Maui. Fabulous cheeses and anyway, but even though it was a Greek grocery store, of course they spoke French, and so it was a wonderful experience. They have a fabulous museum there. And it's not just a one-building museum. I think there's 4 or 5 different buildings, and it shows different things. I like Indian art, and I got just a beautiful calendar from there, done by a Canadian Indian woman. And let's see. Oh, they have this huge Ferris wheel.
Oh, right.
I didn't get to go on it, but it's huge.
You wouldn't go on it. I wouldn't go on it.
Oh, yeah, I would. I would in a New York minute.
Yeah?
Yeah, absolutely. The downtown area, the old historic area was nice. Notre Dame, the cathedral, was great. They had a huge light show, and it's not every night, so you have to check. And this is, it was really, and they had music with a light show, and they showed all the seasons and light all over everywhere.
Is it inside or outside?
Inside.
Okay, some buildings now are doing them outside.
Yeah. And of course, there's street musicians everywhere, and so there's really great music.
It's known as a good music town. It's known as a very good music town.
Right. And there's places to get crafts and things. We didn't do that. We ended up in Chinatown in Montreal, which was really kind of fun because we're in this Chinese restaurant and they're speaking French, which was very, kind of, I had to do a little mind switch there. And that was a fun place to be.
And you mentioned you saw Chinese people who had moved there, so I wonder if there's a Chinese community.
I think that there's a huge Chinese community, and I think that the people that like this young couple who are concerned about health and air quality, even they moved. They ditched out of their homeland and came to Montreal.
I don't blame them at all.
A lot of them moved to Vancouver too.
That's a very huge community there,
right? And just all over. Uber works great.
Oh, good.
My fabulous Uber driver. I loved him. He was great. He was my favorite one. So he was from Iran. He's driving his Uber in his puka shorts, right? And so I said, what brought you here and how'd you get here and everything? Well, here he is. He's driving Uber in Montreal, and he came here to get away from the graft and the financial pressure that government would put on him to give up money and things. He was a civil engineer. He had 150 employees. I mean, the guy professionally had it made in his country, and he had the opportunity. He picked up his 2 kids, and he was so proud of himself because they just bought a home.
Wow.
So the American dream is alive and well in Montreal, believe me.
That's a Canadian dream, I think.
The Canadian dream. Well, North American dream.
North American dream,
okay. Okay, so that was Montreal. We were there for 4 days. And then we got on the ship. And the ship was really a lovely, lovely ship. And you can usually have early dining or late dining or as you wish dining.
Is there assigned seating times for the main room?
Yes, 5:30 and then like 8 or 7:30. I cannot remember. Mm-hmm. We took the early seating. We would have done as you wish dining, and that's where you just go there and you meet other people and sit wherever, and you don't have an assigned table.
But you sit with someone else.
Well, no, they had places for 2 people, sometimes 4 people. But the reason we took the early dining was because I thought, oh God, I'm going to drive these people crazy if I have to have different waiters every night and tell them go through the celiac disease thing. This is like not a nice thing to do to these people. And so we couldn't get early dining online. It was all whatever. But I was advised by the United cruise consultant that I was using. If you go through United, you get cruise points. You get points.
Oh, yeah. Is that what you did?
Right, we went through United. And then he said, okay, the first thing you do when you get off the ship is you go to the maitre d'. So I did, and we got the last table for early dining, which worked fabulous because we were at the end of the ship and we had a window.
Nice.
And there were 2 single women traveling separately that were at our table. It was lovely. It was just very, very lovely. So back to Montreal. Now, from Montreal to Quebec and onward, on either side of the St. Lawrence Riverway, there are beautiful homes. It's very wooded. It's very green. Beautiful, beautiful homes. So it's really fun just to sit there and watch everything go by. Even though there's tons of things to do on the ship, it was enjoyable to see the terrain and the different houses, and it was and the weather was fabulous. We had great weather. And the next,
did you view it from the top deck or from a
all
viewing
over,
room or wherever?
All over. Yeah, we're always walking all over. we went to the Crow's Nest, and we were at, and the piano bar. Oh, the piano,
Piano bar on Holland is. Did you have Piano Bill by chance?
There was somebody at the piano bar.
You know?
Well, there was one guy on our Holland Piano Bill. That was the place to be. I mean,
Really?
It was so much fun.
Really?
Yeah.
And then Adagio with the violin and the piano. The music was so beautiful, I cried. Okay, so from Montreal we went to and it's not pronounced Quebec in Canada. It's called Quebec.
Quebec. I did not
Quebec.
know that. Huh.
Well, neither did I until I oh, we're going to Quebec. Okay, Quebec City. I'm thinking, okay, all right. Okay, so let me write a note here. Shows. I got to tell you about that too.
Okay.
Anyway, so we're on this ship, and we watch these beautiful, cruising down in the evening, the early evening, with the great fall lighting, which is always golden and lovely.
Yeah.
And there's beautiful homes going by and trees and everything. And so the shows and the entertainment I thought was spectacular. Okay,
What time were the show?
I think they were 8. It was
That's
like
doable.
at 8,
Yeah.
8 and 10, or I can't recall because I just went where they took
Coincides
me.
with the dining, the
With
first
the dining,
and the late.
right. Yeah, you're right there. Anyway, Quebec is. Listen, if you want to go to a foreign country and you don't want to leave the North American area, I highly recommend that you go to Quebec. It was like walking into France. And it's a beautiful, very, very picturesque little place. Now, it's built on a cliff, and at the top of the cliff is the fabulous, and they tout it as the most photographed hotel in the world. Right?
Really?
Yeah. The Chateau Fontenac.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Have you been there?
No,
Fontenac.
I just know.
Right.
No, it's
Right,
it's
and
famous.
It's run by the Four Seasons. Pricey, $400-500 a night, 5-6, money, but it's absolutely gorgeous. Yeah, if you want to take it, they have a fabulous tour office in Quebec City, and if you want to take a tour of the Fontenac Hotel, because you can't really go up and see everything in the hotel, it's just you just pretty much can find one floor, but you can take a tour, and that takes you all over the hotel and gives you all the history.
Well, that's nice.
Of the hotel.
Yeah.
But to get from the ship to the upper level, you take a funicular. And we had a bicycle driver take us from the ship, pedaling away and take us to the base of the funicular. Take the funicular up, and it puts you on this great big huge plaza which overlooks the waterway, and you can see the ship down below, and it's right below the hotel. And then you look, and then you turn around and look, and there's all these European buildings, and there's these outdoor cafes, and now I'm going to talk about something which people may not be in agreement with, but I grew up in Montana. Okay, I know what it's like in the cold, and my father had fur. Okay, my mother had fur, and we were not a family of means. So when I walked into this fur shop, okay, and saw their prices on their fur-lined jacket, a fur-lined a full coat with a hood, I thought about it, and that baby ended up being mine.
But you're here in Hawaii. When are you going to? Oh, I guess when you travel.
Oh, okay. Listen.
When you travel, you
well, okay. I have grandkids. They live in the Tahoe, Reno area.
Oh, that makes sense.
I am expected. Yeah. It is, is expected that I go up there and watch them ski.
Oh.
I freeze because my blood is so thin from living in Hawaii.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. And, I don't get out of it. I have to at least spend a whole afternoon sitting out there watching these,
Did you have them ship it? Because that takes a lot of space
I had it. I had them ship it.
I was trying to see you pack that in your
thought
bag.
about it. I thought about it. I kept the card.
Your suitcase.
Okay, it was they marked it half the price, and then I asked her for the card, and I said, give me your best price, and it was like something I could handle, because I saved my money for this thing. And I thought about it, and then called her back and said, "Okay, you pay the shipping. It's Canadian, and we'll take the coat." So they shipped it.
So that's your souvenir,
right?
From Quebec.
Yeah. And I didn't even have it shipped here. I had it shipped to my son's place
that
in
makes sense.
California.
Very smart. Then you don't have to carry it with you. Yeah.
No. I'll put it in storage, and it'll be there when I have to do the obligatory at least one day on the ski slopes, freezing, watching. So now I have this hood. It's I'm going to be very comfortable, and then I won't whine as much. Okay, which is everybody in my family will appreciate that. Okay, so Quebec, go to Quebec.
That'd be a place you'd go back and spend more time.
It stole my heart.
Yeah.
It stole my heart. Okay, from there, we went to a place called Charlottetown, and that's on Prince Edward Island. Very interesting place, all right? This PEI, as they refer to it, was settled by the Irish. So 1/3 of the potatoes are grown on this island.
It's very interesting.
That 1/3 of the potatoes for Canada. Now we got this place. We rented a car and we drove around, and it was sort of misty and very bucolic countryside, very soft rolling hills, obviously great soil, lots of green, lush vegetation everywhere. Anne of Green Gables house is there, it was this old spinster and her brother that wanted to adopt a boy to help them with a farm and things, and they ended up with this girl. Anyway, the author of Anne of Green Gables lived in that house.
Oh, seriously? Wow.
Yeah, Anne of Green Gables. Anne was like a myth, but we got to see her old typewriter, and and
they just did that on PBS. They had it on the air last Sunday.
Uh-huh.
Anna Green Gables, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I wasn't familiar with the whole storyline, but they had the house, and they've got the barn, and they've got the carriage where you can sit in and put the hat on with the red braids.
But
and
it doesn't feel Canadian
taken.
at all. It feels it feels like Irish, like Ireland.
Well, I don't know about that part, but the land. I don't know whether it feels Irish or not, but this is just the history that was given to us when we took the cab out to get the airport to get the car. Mm-hmm. Small, lovely little city, a little town, maybe 2-3-story brick buildings. The flowers were still in bloom because the weather was great. And, of course, I had to have lobster because there was a lobster house right by the boat. I mean, I had 5 lobsters on this trip. I mean,
Whoa.
That's all I ate.
Wow.
I mean, like when in Rome, right? Uh-huh. So I had a good time eating lobster. All right, and so we drove around Charlottetown, but I don't think I would return to there, but many people do because they have a huge amount of golf courses.
Oh, really?
And people go there to golf. Huh. It's a real golf haven. And people go there, and we saw little cottages for rent. And we stopped at one little shop where they had all the beautiful, gorgeous hand-knit sweaters that the women had been making and they're hand done. They're like the Irish wool sweaters
the cable stitch things.
The cable stitch and all colors. The workmanship was like incredibly out of this world.
So different than the other places there you'd been to.
Yeah. Right. So that was a little cottage industry that really helped those people out. I'd already decided on the fur, so I didn't get the sweater. Okay, and so then, oh, by the way, it is recycled fur, so Okay. That's the name of the shop. That's the name of the shop.
All right, that explains it all.
That's
what drew you in.
Yeah, the recycle fur shop. And I thought, gee, I mean, I didn't plan on. I didn't go there planning on doing that.
That eases any kind of guilt.
Right. Yeah.
Recycle fur.
Yeah. Okay.
So now you're going to be heading into New York. Did you stop in New York?
No.
You didn't stop in New York.
We didn't go to New York.
Oh.
Okay. The next place was Sydney, and Sydney was and that was Nova Scotia.
Oh.
And Nova Scotia means New Scotland. That was settled by the Scottish. And we spent the afternoon at the Governor's Pub listening to Gaelic music.
Wow.
There was 2 great fiddle players and an accordion and guitar. Oh, it was fabulous. It's not like you can walk into a bar here in Maui and hear that kind of music. And so that was really, really good. Way to spend the afternoon. And since it's Scottish, I had inherited a long plaid kilt skirt that my mother-in-law had purchased in Scotland, but I didn't have a pin. And so I got very inexpensive kilt pin. So now I can keep the thing closed because it's important when you sit down.
Oh, but you didn't bring it with you.
I did. That's why I traveled.
You brought your kilt with you.
Yeah,
I'm impressed. That's a lot of planning.
Okay, it goes to the ground.
Wow,
it was a great travel. I wore it like most of the time on the ship. I just
really,
yeah. Besides, it's plaid, and you can spill anything on it. Nobody will know.
Doesn't get wrinkled. Yeah.
Right? And people like that.
Yeah.
They like that skirt. And it's wool. I mean, I travel with wool up there because I'm a wuss when it comes to cold weather. Okay, so that's how we spent the time in Sydney. Very small little town. Not really that much going on. Lovely little harbor and park and things. After that, we went to Halifax, and Halifax is where the immigrants come into Canada. Halifax was large, 300,000 people, stainless steel buildings, lots old and new. It's sort of like on a hill, on a grade, and there we teamed up and got our own driver who took us out to Peggy's Cove. Now, what was interesting is that the land at Nova Scotia was much different than Prince Edward Island. They had lots of lakes, lots of granite and boulders and rocks, and when we got to Peggy's Cove, there were huge huge boulders, like twice the size of this room, and flattened where by the ocean, and a lighthouse at the end, and people were walking around on them. In terms of what's at Peggy's Cove, there's really not very much at Peggy's Cove, but the drive through the country to see how people lived was very interesting. Lots of homes along the different lakesides and everything. The trees were interesting to me because of the lack of the soil. They were very short and kind of scraggly pines. But I'm sure they must have been like 80 years old.
Well, they get very heavy winters there in Nova Scotia.
Oh, yeah. I see. I see.
Mm-hmm.
But the great thing about Peggy's Cove is that right on the street there was a guy that had lobster pots, and he'd pick out your lobster. And I had another lobster. Okay. And then after Halifax, we went to Bar Harbor in Maine. And Bar Harbor is like an East Coast Lahaina.
Really?
But
is it a whaling, old whaling town?
I don't know if it's whaling. It's Lobster Town.
Oh, a lobster
The lobster
town.
licenses.
Maine is famous for that.
Yeah. Lobsters. That's where most of the lobster is used. They only use about a third of what they catch there in Bar Harbor. The rest they ship off. Great lobster. For $22 you could get a full-on lobster meal with all the sides and everything. And so, of course, I had to have one. Right. And they have little art places and candy places and some beautiful churches and old structures, like the old Eastern homes with the stairwell in the back for the servants. Those types of homes. And so we had a really, really good time there. And then, most of the places, when you get off the ship, they usually have a Wi-Fi spot.
Which is very important.
Very important.
But a tip for everyone,
Mm-hmm.
you've been through this, I've been through this. You don't want to find a Wi-Fi spot close to the ship because sometimes you get hijacked from the ship. It picks up the ship's Wi-Fi.
Right.
And if you're too close, it will sometimes automatically find the ship's Wi-Fi. And I had that happen a couple of times, and the cost, if you get locked into the phone system or the ship's Wi-Fi, it can cost a fortune.
Oh, my goodness.
So make
that's a
sure
good
you're
tip.
not too close
Right.
to the ship.
Right.
You know, you have to really look at your Wi-Fi settings and where it's going to.
Yeah, and, choose your...
Yes,
your
it
whatever.
happens to people. It really does, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, there was a great Wi-Fi park. That's where the
Smart.
city had.
It draws
so everybody-
people.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
were just hanging. Everybody's checking everything in the park. So Bar Harbor was lovely. We had a great time there, and then we disembarked in Boston. And I've been to Boston. We've been to Boston before. I've been a couple times, and so we stayed Back Bay, which is where we liked. And since we were into walking, we went up to Newbury Street, where shops, restaurants.
Is it a coastal town?
Boston?
No, but Newbury Street, is it near the coast? Right on the coast?
No. It's Back Bay, and it's a long street that runs right into the Boston Commons.
Oh.
So we walked for hours on Newbury Street to the Boston Commons, where they have Make Way for Ducklings. That's where that's a real sweet thing. And then the highlight of Boston was, I checked in to find out what was playing at the Wang Theater. And the Wang Theater, you remember when computers got started, the name Wang?
Yeah.
Word processor?
Yeah,
Right,
yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Okay, so the family threw their money into the restoration of this huge, beautiful cathedral-like, with statues and frescoes and gold trim theater it's called the Wang Theater. Well, Baez was playing.
Oh, gosh.
And so we went online, and we got in, nosebleed section, but we got in.
I've
Okay.
never seen Joan Baez, and she's
She was
retiring
wonderful.
this year.
Yeah, it was wonderful.
Yeah.
She was just wonderful. And
Now you're off the ship at this point?
Yeah,
Your cruise is over.
we're off the ship. Yeah, we stayed at a guest house in Back Bay, and Boston was lovely. And then we got on the boat on the plane the next morning and flew home, and that was our trip. And it was a great second honeymoon.
It is looking. It sounds to me, it's funny. You think if you do something like this, it'd just be like going to another place in America, but it sounds so international and so flavored with other feelings of each town that it sounds like you're going almost to Europe, but right a lot closer, right?
A lot closer, yeah.
And probably a lot cheaper too.
Right. Yeah, especially with the dollar the way that it is. Now, interesting. Let's see. I think we bought in at around it was a 7-day cruise, and I think when we bought it, it was like maybe $1,100 or something
That
a
cheap?
piece. Wait. And then 2 weeks before the cruise, I'm checking online. The rooms were going for like $400 a piece.
Not.
No. So if you want to get really good deals and can fly at the last minute, you
That's
can
unheard of.
You can get really. It was $3 and change.
Did you see that ever, Kathy? I mean, that is. I'm
it
shocked
was
how
like
cheap.
maybe they only had 2 or 3 rooms, but they threw it on. They threw it on to fill it up.
Amazing.
And I don't know whether they did or not, but I thought, oh gee, maybe we should have waited. And I think, no,
I think if
we
you
shouldn't have waited.
I think if you
No.
told me or called me, I would have jumped on that. I think I would
yeah.
have, because I need a trip, and that's such a steal. My
Yeah.
God.
John, she
Yes.
needs a trip.
I need a trip. I really
Are you
am. I'm
listening,
jonesing for a
John?
trip. I really am. So we only have about 6 minutes left.
Uh-huh.
And I don't know if we should get into the fact that I'm fascinated with the fact that you found an amazing place. Hana Steel is a very good planner. You're very organized, and you're very good at this. But you found a place that's a retirement home you bought.
Yeah, we do. It's under rental until I decide I don't want to think about garbage anymore. I work for the county. and in recycling for like 27 years. So at some point, we will be half time in Maui and half time here in Hawaii. I don't know when that's going to be. I like my work.
Half-time in Hawaii and half-time
in a place called Rossmore, California.
Which is in the Bay Area?
It's in the Walnut Creek. And we researched places up and down the West Coast. We would stay in Maui if we could find a retirement community.
There's not really a...
No.
I don't want to stay in Rosalani.
No. We need a little bit more mental stimulation than that. This is for active people, really active people. And so several years ago we did buy, and it's, like I said, it's in rental, and at some point we will do half here and half in Rossmore.
You like traveling, and it's a lot easier sometimes.
It's a lot easier. Okay. Now, speaking of traveling, this is what I really liked about it. Okay. Is because I can get on the Rossmore bus system right outside my condo. Okay. And it will take me right to Walnut Creek BART, which will take me right to either San Francisco Airport or Oakland Airport.
Wow, that's
and
convenient.
I never have to drive.
Wow.
In the Bay Area, I'm pushing the age numbers here, and
well, it's also crazy expensive to drive in San Francisco and park in San Francisco and everything.
Yeah. So and we do have family there, and I talked about the obligatory trips to the ski slope.
Yeah, that's
to
true.
watch
That's
the
not that far
grandchildren
from
ski.
Tahoe, is it?
So no, it's really not. And in terms of seeing that part of the family, all I have to do is get on the train in Martinez, and it will take me up to where they live in Lake Tahoe.
Seriously, you can take a train right there?
Not right there. I have to get, I'll get somebody to take me to Martinez, which is like maybe 20 minutes away from where Rossmore is. But if anybody is interested in a really great retirement community, they should let me know. And so get your pen and paper, and I'll say this a few times. You can email me at hanasteelphd@gmail.com. HANASTEEL@gmail.com, because it is a great community. There's about 9,000 people there. It's 1,700 acres. It has about 200 different clubs. You can join up and think and do anything. It has
200 clubs is pretty impressive.
It has a woodworking shop and a ceramic shop and a fine jewelry shop and fine arts shop and a sewing shop. And it has free movies in the morning and the afternoon, or afternoon and the evening. But the best thing, it has a huge, wonderful workout facility and three pools, and one of them specifically reserved for the grandkids who will make their obligatory visit to see Grandpa and Grandpa, because I have already gone to see them in the winter.
And you can buy and rent out.
Right,
So you can buy and rent it out.
Yeah, we're doing that. Yeah,
and is it affordable to buy? Because I know Northern California is kind of expensive.
It's a lot cheaper than buying something like that in Walnut Creek. That's for sure. That's for sure. They range in prices, and this is another thing I liked about it, is because it was a huge economic spread. You can get in for $250,000 for a little unit, on up to $1.5 million.
Wow.
And I like to be in a community with a huge spread, because I like artists, and most of them aren't really that wealthy.
And I'm sure you check to see. I'm sure they recycle.
Oh yes, oh yes, yeah. Not only they put Maui to shame. I'm sorry, because they have curbside everything. They got
you
everything.
wouldn't do anything until you made sure they were okay with recycling.
But
right?
but so here's a tip to guys. It's really a nice thing to ask your wife to marry you again, and to take a trip, and especially. And I'm so interested in what Kathy Taguchi has to offer on the. It's the crystal. Is that it?
No, it's Paul Gauguin.
Or this one?
Oh,
Paul Gauguin? Tahiti?
Tahiti. Oh, Tahiti. Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah. I need that information. I would love to do that. Can you get on if you're going to Tahiti from Maui? Can you get on in Oahu?
Yeah.
Do you have to fly someplace to get on?
Well, for this particular Paul Gauguin, you have to fly to Tahiti. But
You go to Oahu, from here to Oahu on Hawaiian Airlines. You go from Hawaiian Airlines direct, like 5.5 hours. You get down there really fast.
It's only 5.5 hours to Tahiti.
Yeah.
it's an easy trip.
Oh my God! I thought it was so much
Oh, no,
longer.
no,
That's
no.
like you can get to San Francisco.
It's
in
exactly
5.5
the same
hours.
thing.
Exactly.
Oh,
and you
oh.
land, and they take you, and Kathy arranges so they take you for free right over to the ship, and you get on the ship and board by midnight, a little before midnight, and you wake up on another island in the morning.
Oh.
And it's
like
and
going
it-
back to
and-
how I used to be.
And so it tours you all around Tahiti.
lots 4 islands.
You go to Huahine, Bora Bora, Moorea, and then back to Papeete.
And it's cheaper than if you were to stay in a hotel there in Tahiti.
Yeah.
I mean,
Okay.
and
now
the food is to die for.
do you
French
leave?
food.
When does the Paul Gauguin
We have 5
sail
seconds.
from Tahiti?
We
They
have
a few
6
days.
seconds.
I could email you.
Okay. All right. Take the trip, guys.
I love talking like this. Call Kathy at 242-1414. We're out of time, but thank you for listening. Aloha.